like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all, man. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the live, man. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe as we get into this late night edition of the Coma. It's been a very busy day for your boy. I got my coffee. I'm ready to roll. So I hope you guys are too. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So I will try to be as fast as I possibly can about covering some of this stuff. So big ups and big out shots to all you guys in the stream, man. A lot of stuff. Cleveland won tonight in their first exhibition game. Shedeur Sanders. I know that's a point of contention. A lot of people want to kind of discuss involving Tyler Shough. That will always be a correlation in the Who Dat Nation, similar to the Marcus Davenport and Lamar Jackson thing. You talk about stupid. But at the end of the day, man, if you're a football head and you know football, you know what Deion Sanders' son could do. We talking about the quarterback, not the defensive back, but we know. And I watched 50-something odd games from the kid. The man know how to play the position. He's a natural at the position. It doesn't surprise me at all. He went in there, played comfortable, played cool. It's a gene. It's something that they have, the composure, the intelligence, not getting frizzled. And regardless of whatever you attempt to do to him, he stays composed. It'll only make him better. That speaks well to a lot of people in the world. Like some of these people that think they're in control, like try to play with people and think that they can try to offset them or delay them in their progress or to get whatever blessings they need to be. All you doing is crystallizing them and making them even better. You know, they're not going to break. You do not have the ability to break someone in that type of mindset. So it's good to see that. And we'll cover an article that makes a correlation between Shedeur and Tyler Shough. I don't think it's a fair one. The Saints did put some scrutiny because I think that Kellen Moore can coach any quarterback. He really can. He showed it when he went to all the different stops. He had different quarterbacks he was working with, whether it was Dak Prescott, Herbert out with the Chargers, or Jalen with the Eagles. Those are different styles of quarterbacks. And if you're a head coach, your job is to work with different personalities and skill sets and sides to get them to be successful. So I think Kellen's smart enough. He just chose Tyler Shough, and people just gonna have to live with that. There will be no trading of Shedeur Sanders to the Saints and all this kind of stuff. They're not going to backtrack. They're going to stick to their guns. But it is also awesome to witness that. That's why I don't pay attention to these other people. This was a ritual where they were just basically humbling him or attempting to humiliate him, and it did not work, and it's not going to work. Okay. So it's just, you cannot do that with certain people. You only will make them better. You only make them smarter. You only make them faster. You're only doing the will of the Most High and getting them to become better. Not just Shedeur, but that's with anybody. that has that mindset. But anyway, let's jump right into it, man. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Much love to everybody in the stream, all the queens and the kings of the coma. Pammy Whammy, Antoinette, shout out to y'all. Good to see y'all in the building. OG Jerry, Trav 504, Muse. What's up, Muse, baby? Good to see you. Brother Byron's in this thing as well. Yes, indeed. Good to see everybody, man, in the building. So, oh yeah, Slim. What's up, Slim? Shout out to brother Slim as well. What's up, brother Marvin? How you doing, sir? He's ready for the heartbreak Saint. Now, I don't think. What's up, King Chosen One? I don't think the Saints. I don't think it's going to be a heartbreak season because I don't think anybody is anticipating the Saints to win the Super Bowl this year. You know what I'm saying? After 4 years of what we witnessed, everything that is opposite of what winning was, opposite of what of accountability was, opposite of everything that was positive. We witnessed it. We witnessed excuses. We mentioned distractions and detractions, and we mentioned everything, anything. We witnessed it all, but now it's time for us to witness something different. I think the Saints this year can win more than 5 games. I think this is a better team than what they were last year. No doubt about it, because you don't have a dumb coach on top of the team anymore. And you don't have a stumbling, bumbling, excuse-making, mascara wearing a QB running it. Blaming his players and finger pointing. We don't have these 2 clowns on top of the team no more. We have people here that want to win and is willing to take accountability. So in that, I think we win more than 5 games. The Saints should have won several different games last year. That they should have won the Philly game. They should have won the Washington game. They had many different games where they fumbled, stumbled, and bumbled by their own hand, not so much their opponent. So I think that we'll be better in that aspect, and trust and believe that is that having that in your team is big. Because if you're a team, y'all learning, y'all putting it together, you're being accountable. Man, listen, man, that can take you far. We have to have that inside the team for us to sustain success. We have to. If we don't have that, we're just fooling ourselves. So let's see if it looks good what Kellen Moore's doing right now, but I don't expect Kellen Moore, any of these people, to win, to be miraculous in the first year. I think we do have a good team. I think we're still a lot of stuff that needs to be worked upon with the Saints, getting all that kind of stuff together. But this team will be tested. They have to be tested first to see how good they are, and we'll go from there. You can't be any fairer than that, right? All right, shut. Joe, Jerry. Don't worry, Jerry. We're going to get that together before the first regular season game. Hopefully, I'll have it ready for you by Sunday, brother. So don't worry about it. We're going to be all right. All right, shout out to you, Marvin. Big ups to you. All right, big ups to everybody here, man. What's up, Big Velly? Shout out to you, sir. Much love. All right, and I think I got everybody in this thing. What's up, Bronze? Shout out to Bronze, Mall and Mall. Much love, fam. Y'all always got to get a shout out to my people. Swag fan, what's happening, Swag fan? Good to see you in the building as well. All right, much love. All right, yeah, Mew says shots fired. Now we got to just tell the truth. That's what we do on the coma. We tell the truth. It might not be one of these popular opinions that they go out, but man, I don't have time for all that, man. I don't have time for all that. I just got to lay it on the line and tell the truth. And if that rash their ass, then that's all on them. I don't have no problem with, if it hit them in the chest and they don't like it, that's on your ass. I ain't got time for sensitive and petty feelings. I got to get this truth out. I ain't got time to play no games. All right. So anyway, let's move on, man. Let's hit these camp situations. Then we'll go into some of these other things. Shout out to Young City 9 on IG, man. Much love. Saints QB observations, man. This is what they came up with today from the writers here. Matt Paris at the NOLA.com talked about some of the things about Tyler Shough turning the corner. We also realize that we know that Spencer Rattler is going to start against the Chargers. No surprise at that whatsoever. We do realize that Spencer Rattler was taking a lot more reps than Tyler Shough was. He started with the first team, and shout out to NOLA.com because they documented how many times he lined up with the first unit and how many reps he got, and even how many attempts and completed passes from up to now. So going into it from the OTAs into training camp, if you didn't have the statistics, you had the eye test. Like I was going based on the eye test. I realized realistically that Tyler Shough will have an adjustment period to make before he takes the QB position. If he takes the QB position, because Spencer Rattler, to me, it was a 2-man game. No disrespect to Jake Haener, but to me, it's a 2-man game. Jake Haener, in 2 years with the team last year, had an opportunities to show that he learned something, and you have to see. Listen, you don't have forever in the day to pick this stuff up if you're an NFL quarterback. You don't have you have to be ready when the time comes to the best of your ability. You have to be ready. You're in the NFL. It's a super competitive environment. When you get when a window opens for you to jump through the damn thing, you got to mash on. If you blow your opportunity, somebody else is going to take it down the line. That's what happened with Spencer Rattler when he had an opportunity to get in there and play. That's how you ended up having Jake Haener sliding all the way down to number 3. We know he's playing better, but you kind of need to expect that from Jake Haener, being that he's been in the league for 3 years. And even though it's been a change in the offensive room, like 3 years, the man been in the league, 3 different offensive coordinators, that's not consistency. People can't really grow in that environment unless you're very special, right? Super special, meaning that you just have the superhuman ability to adapt instantaneously and you be able to move on the fly wherever the situation is. They do have people like that in the world. But obviously it wasn't Jake Haener. To keep it honest, he's competing and he's doing a good job, but he's the most senior member of the Saints squad. He's had 3 years to be in the NFL, and all you are is a quarterback. You're not going out there and you're not cutting grass and doing anything in any other occupation. Your occupation is an NFL quarterback. That's what your job is to do. But Spencer Rattler's taking advantage of his situation. He played in 7 games last year. He started in 6 games, did not get a win. That's something that'll be big on Spencer. He wants to get a win, right? In the regular season, he wants to be the leader of the team. He's not passing out any negative commentary. He slyly moves away from negative or not negative, but I guess questions that gear him to try to get him to do certain things. The guy is really good at doing that. Very high level in talking to the press. Plays with the chip, is intelligent and taking opportunities now, right, to improve and go, and he's taking advantage of the situation that he's in. That's why he's the quarterback currently going into to the Chargers game. Now, ultimately, they'll move the quarterbacks around and give them an opportunity. You probably expect Tyler Shough to start in game 2 and all this kind of stuff. We'll see how they move the quarterbacks around. But Rattler, that's a big start to get him going in this thing. So that's the first thing. And of course, as we go back to Tyler Shough's commentary, shout out to them for saying that they talk about him in his competition and how he did today in camp, finding the mark and making passes and doing all this kind of stuff. They talk about the 8-on-8 scrimmage that they had going on with him. They talked about his ball placement is getting better. He's starting to find the camaraderie with Bub Means and do some positive stuff. They seen him throwing to Dante Pettis down the field of a 30-yard game with the pressure in his face. But see, that's one of the best things you see with Tyler Shough, big quarterback, 6'5", what is he, 6'5", 6'6", somewhere along in that big quarterback, stand tall in the pocket and deliver the ball over the line down the field. With customers see smaller quarterbacks, our guys 6'1", 6'2", or lower than that. Big quarterback, strong arm, decisive, making the throws. That's positive. That's what your boy see. But like I said, Spencer's the guy. Most impressive throw that he had inside the 10-yard line is when he jumped to lob a pass right to Kevin Austin Jr. for a touchdown on that play. Another third down. Shough leapt. So he leapt up like one of these, a leaping throw that he did to get the ball over Pete Werner, who's crashing down toward him. And he also came up against the first team defense, and he spent his afternoons with the 2. So you see a little shifting of that going on with Tyler Shough, as you can see the picture of him doing a little selfie right there with the youngsters, the future Saints players. So yeah, it's very interesting to see how they're going and how he's doing. He mentions here in the article, apparently Shough's confidence was in New Orleans' 66-play scrimmage. So a 66-play scrimmage, they had 126 plays a couple of days ago. So you can see the Saints are Kellen Moore is attempting to create an environment, trying to build up some fatigue and get the team used to or ready for a rambunctious season. So if you hit them with a lot of stuff and they're used to it, it kind of evens out and makes it a little better when they get into the regular season when the bullets mean something, right? When stuff starts flying. So this is one when he talked about after he fooled the entire defense on the keeper, Shough went running on the baseline of the end to the end zone. He had a high five, a small group of kids watching nearby. Also, Kellen Moore seemed impressed with Tyler Shough's decision to keep the ball from for the score too. He told reporters after the practice that 95% of the time the player is supposed to go to the running back, but Tyler Shough made an instinctive call to end up with the points, showing his legs to scramble. Now, these are some of the stats right here that we talked about that they've astutely and wonderfully kept. Spencer Rattler in the practice was 12 of 16. Overall, he's 94 for 134 for camp. Tyler Shough was 10 of 14. Overall, 84 of 134. Jake Haener, not too good. He was 3 of 8. He's totally 71 for 105. So you can see the attempts are even between the two, with Rattler having more completions. Rattler is being more decisive. Rattler is being more accurate. Rattler is looking like the guy. You know, he's far ahead of, I ain't gonna say far ahead, but he is showing that he is ready for larger things. And of course, like I say, he's still very young, but this is where young quarterbacks, and he's on point with his development, right? So did Shough close the gap on Rattler for the starting job? As a good day as Shough had, it's hard to say. After Rattler was almost equally sharp, he displayed an impressive chemistry with Rashid Shaheed, right? Who filled in for Chris Olave, who was nursing that ankle injury that they said was insignificant, right? Which is good. Now, they said Rattler thrived on a deep play action throw, such as when he found Shaheed for a 30-yard touchdown. On that score, Rattler quickly identified that Shaheed was in a mismatch and just let it rip, right? Rattler had displayed a consistent level of decisiveness through the camp, and that might ultimately be the reason he wins the starting job. But for the Saints, it was important for Shough to be decisive as well. That's happened more and more lately. He got it, and that's the great thing, is that even though, you know, you look at Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler, I think they're both where they're supposed to be in their development. I think Spencer Rattler is clearly the better quarterback here, and he'll display that into the preseason, into the regular season. He gives you the best chance to win right now. Ultimately, Tyler Shough over time will get better and get smarter and faster, and this competition will be good. So if injuries hit the room, either one of these guys, with Spencer there, the Saints quarterback position is in good hands. And of course, Jake Haener is a guy that'll be in the third position. Hunter Deckers is back. Haven't heard anything about him. He's just, at some point, he's just a camp arm, right? I mean, ultimately, he can end up on the practice squad. You never can tell. All right, anyway, let's keep it moving, man, as we talk about this article right here, you know, that was written by Clutch Points. That's talking about Saints Tyler Shough catches social media strays amid Shedeur Sanders display. Saints rookie quarterback Tyler Shough caught strays on social media after Shedeur Sanders' preseason debut with the Browns. So it's a lot of people looking at it and saying, man, look what Deion Sanders' son could do. And it's unfair, right? To compare the two, because Shough, you know, he got picked by who he got picked by. And Shedeur ended up, and a lot of people was like, you can say that basically about a lot of teams, right? That passed over the man. It wasn't the only one, but a lot of people was like, Shedeur should have been the Saints quarterback. And I thought so too. But in the end, we got who we got, right? Anyway, New Orleans Saints rookie quarterback Tyler Shough caught strays, even though he wasn't on the field. Instead, it came after the standout performance Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders. The Saints drafted Shough in the second round of the 2025 draft, as the Browns would pick Sanders in the fifth round. What makes this significant is that Sanders had first round projections before falling to the fifth round, showing the stunning slide as Shough heard his name called before Sanders. Now, listen, that's on these people, which they'll never do an investigation on that, because you can see with common sense what the hell happened. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist or none of this kind of stuff. Stuff don't happen like this unless it's orchestrated. This was something that they got together on, and they said, we're going to do this. And the team that wanted to draft them was the one that ended up getting them in the fifth round. They took a guy right now, Dylan Gabriel, who's struggling mightily. He's playing and looking so bad. You know, they were saying, well, you know, and like I said, Dylan Gabriel's a good college quarterback, but, you know, he should have went a lot lower than where he went. There's no way you taking one over the other. That's how you know the ridiculousness of it. You can see what happened. It's stupid. But in the end, you know, they're not going to do nothing about it, but just keep it in your head. It's just an example of how shit works in the world when certain people don't like you. But anyway, like I said before the start of the show, it's only going to make them better. So whatever you try to do, it's not going to hurt him. It's only going to make him better. With many doubters, Sanders set up to prove them wrong. He impressed in his preseason debut in the Browns. It's still a long way to go. He had a good matchup here. Still a long way to go. Matchup against Carolina on Friday night. He completed 14 of 23 for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked really good out there, by the way, while adding 19 yards on the ground from 4 carries. Didn't take long for the family members to react to the performance as he decided to take shots at Tyler Shough. The reactions was the Saints really took Tyler Shough over Shedeur. One fan said with a video of Shough underthrowing the pass, which was unfair, man. You know, he had a bad throw in the practice. He threw the ball and it slipped out. It came out of his hand wrong and it just went into the ground. It was a bad throw. They all do that. Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shough, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe aren't making those plays. Hate to break it to you. Tyler Shough looked he said Tyler Shough better look damn good Sunday or this app is going to implode. He ain't going to implode. He ain't going to implode, man. The man is going to take time. You know, he just don't worry about none of that. What's next for Tyler Shough? It may not be fair for Tyler Shough to catch strays. It's not. As many NFL teams passed on Shedeur several times in the NFL draft. However, Shough must show he can deliver on his potential to the Saints. Shough had a long collegiate career lasting from 2018 to 2024. His final season with Louisville marked his best when he went 8-4 in 12 starts, completed 244 passes, over 3,100 yards and 23 touchdowns. Despite not playing in the Sun Bowl, Louisville still prevailed 35-34 over Washington State. Or Washington Huskies. As for the Saints, they will hope for their quarterbacks to elevate the offense following Rick Carr's retirement. The team hasn't been in the postseason since 2020, a drought they will look to end this time around. I don't know if the Saints get into the playoffs this year, but the reality is Tyler Shough's not worrying about no Shedeur Sanders, and he needs not to be. He needs to be concerned about another quarterback named Spencer Rattler. Right now, Spencer Rattler has the job and is ahead of him, and all he has to do is keep doing what he's doing because he is showing improvement every day. He is showing. That's one thing about him. He has a can-do spirit and a will to win. And like I said before about Ty, one of the things that he wasn't the guy I would have picked. If I was running the team, I would have took Sanders. But being that Tyler Shough is here, the one thing I like a lot of things about him, but the biggest thing I like about Tyler Shough is the fact that despite the injuries that he had, he didn't give up. He didn't give up on his dream or his vision to be an NFL quarterback. He did not give up. He was hurt 3 times. That ended his season with a broken collarbone, a broken leg, some kind of stuff, all kind of stuff, shoulder issue, all this kind of stuff. Grounded him. He stayed in school 7 years, would not give up on his vision, worked hard, got back, got rehabbed, had a good season last year, had some good workouts where he impressed some teams with his size and speed ability. And he impressed. All he had to do was impress one team, and he did that with Kellen Moore. And Kellen Moore said, "This guy could be something else, man. With his mindset, his maturity level, he could be big. You can't take this away from him that he has a big heart, and just a mind to not quit. You need that for a quarterback. Spencer Rattler has a can-do spirit, and these guys, he plays with a chip on his shoulder. They're respectable. They are leaders. You can see that. But with Tyler Shough, like I said, the biggest thing I like about him is the fact that the man did not give up. He did not quit, despite all of that. And that is what the old folks call it gumption. They call it gumption. They don't even use them words no more. But yes, that's what I do like about Tyler Shough. And he has that. So regardless or not, man, you know, and watching Shedeur playing how he played, he looked good, man, in that. But then again, I knew Shedeur can play the game. When you watch him at Jackson State, he lit it up. When he went to Colorado, he lit it up too. He wasn't as crisp and cool against that competition, elevated competition. He still played well. He didn't have much of an offensive line, but he still went out there and put up statistics and stats. You know, so he was a guy that showed that he had the it factor, that he just wasn't living off the Sanders name, that he was a guy that was ready to make a name for himself. But also remember, these are rich kids. They have, you know, Bentleys and Beamers and diamond watches and necklaces, you know, and all this kind of stuff. They got all this. These are rich kids. Deion Sanders he's a rich man. He's been a rich man for a very long time. When he had these boys, he was already rich, and they were rich. So do not. So the mentality of growing up like you in the hood, all this kind of stuff, people lived in mansions, man. You know, they lived in country clubs. It's a different world for them. So with him flashing his watch and all this kind of stuff and being guarded, he grew up rich. A lot of them grew up rich, but it's a knock on Deion Sanders too. A lot of people do not like prime time. He was abrasive to a lot of people, and some of that falls on his son. They're thinking this. So, like I said, in the end, you won't be able to stop him. You can try all you may. You're going to expose yourself. But eventually, if he's as good as a lot of people think he is, and I think he's good, he'll make it anyway. So, and so will Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler. So our guys, we're okay. We are okay. All right. Anyway, fam, let's keep this thing going. Let me kind of move on over here. We're going to play Kellen Moore and get him ready. He had a presser lined up where he kind of talked to the family members and mentioned it. And all the quarterbacks came out. To talk. Spencer, Tyler, and Jake Hayner, all of them spoke after Kellen Moore spoke. I'm not going to play all of them, maybe a few pieces of this, that, and the third. But anyway, let's just keep it going. Shout out to the fam, man. Y'all hit the like button for me on this late night stream. Let's go.
Popped up, CO. He did not press it, a little bit of ankle, nothing too concerning there. And then Brzee had a little sickness there. So other than that, we should be pretty clean now. So awesome day, scrimmage. Got a chance for guys to go out there, kind of some college situations, play ball, react to some things. And so it was good leading up into Sunday.
Are you ready to declare a starting quarterback?
We'll start Spencer in the game, and then we'll go. From there, we'll go Tyler and then Jake. So all those guys will get in there. They'll hop in there. It'll be a great rotation for those guys.
How many guys do you estimate that you won't play in the game just because of physical impairment?
Yeah, there'll be a couple. We'll go into it. They'll probably hand half a dozen on each side of the ball, and so once we kind of navigate that, we'll communicate to you guys.
Not to go down the entire roster, but will you try to get most of the starting offensive line out there for Spencer?
We'll see. We may rest some in there, and then we'll just rotate those guys as much as we can. So,
what did you like about Spencer's night tonight?
Yeah, I think just really clean, decisive. Played really good ball. Used his feet in a couple scenarios, which was very valuable. And he's playing certainly confident. And so I thought all three of those guys had moments today. And so I feel like we're progressing really well.
How much do you put into this preseason game when it comes to thinking about your starter for week one?
Yeah, it'll be another piece of the puzzle as we go through this. Obviously, they're important pieces. They're games and they're tackling and sacks and all the things that you got to deal with when a game is full go. And so it'll be a great evaluation piece for us. By no means is it any bigger than the collection of all these practices that have occurred.
But just for clarification, this doesn't mean Spencer is starting week one, right?
No.
Did he earn the chance to start this game, or was that a preconceived rotation you were always?
Yeah, certainly we had a couple different options as we went through this. I think certainly he's earned his way as we've gone through this. That's just a starting point. We'll start here and then continue to keep evaluating this thing as we go.
With Tyler comes to the game, will you play your starters at that point, or is it kind of?
We'll see based off their volume and rotation there. Yeah.
How would you just make of Tyler's day to day?
Did some really good things. Again, I thought his feet, just like Spencer, showed up in the game out here, which was awesome. Had a really good couple drives in there. I thought he did some really good things.
On his touchdown run, was that a called keeper, or did he have the option to hand it off?
It was a high probability of run. There's a low probability of QB running, but he saw it. He reacted to it. I think that's one really smart decision-making thing. He has a great feel for the game, and so he saw green grass and he took it.
What do you look forward to just first game of the preseason as head coach?
It'll be really good for our entire football team just to go through the process. By no means it's going to be perfect. That's the beauty of preseason football. I think for our players, it'll be awesome to get out there and kind of play someone else and play each other for a number of weeks, but also for the coaches to go through this process and get back into the real thing.
Your ability to create off schedule, it's tough to gauge sometimes when you're installing the offense, but you're trying to have them do specific things versus when you kind of get in a college situation that shines a little bit.
Yeah, the improv and the off schedule stuff, which is real in this game. There's a number of plays, and the statistics will back it up, that a lot of plays end up in that scramble phase. And so our guys, certainly talked about a lot of it. It shows up more and more in these scrimmages, and certainly these games it'll show up as well. And so Tyler made some great plays. He had a good little off-schedule throw, finding the running back. Spencer had a couple, so it was good.
You're planning on calling the plays on Sunday?
Yes.
And for your run game is kind of operating the way you want it to. Are you kind of seeking out explosives with this run game to kind of what fits in the design is for?
Certainly, I think all of us are trying to get explosive plays, but there's situations within the drives. They're always different. You may be looking for a clean, positive run to get yourself back on track, maybe chasing explosives, whatever it may be. But certainly we want to avoid all negative plays as much as we can. I think that's one of the big things with the run game is you chase explosives. You can't be reckless. Put yourself in second longs and be chasing things.
Did Coach Staley call the defensive plays?
What's that?
Will Coach Staley call
yes.
the defensive plays?
Is Landon Young dealing with something?
Yeah, he's just dealing with something. Yeah, he was out as well today. So sorry, I missed that one. So we'll evaluate that one as we go and see his availability on Sunday.
Can you explain the decision Tyler made on the run? You're saying it was an option call, but
yeah, it's a run play that's going to the running back 95% of the time, and there's a small little percentage that if everyone overreacts, you do have the ability to pull it. He's actually done it twice in training camp, and so I think it's just a high football IQ play, common sense type play.
Did Fadil Biggs stand out to you a little bit tonight?
Yeah, I thought some of those younger edge rushers, some of the D-line, I thought they did a really good job. Our third group, I thought our D-line and the third group really put in some pressure there. Made it challenging for Jake in some circumstances there. So you got to know the context of what Jake was, kind of navigating there in those 2-minute situations. But, I thought that group did a really good job.
Do you know the number of plays you called?
I think we're at 66, so I think that was about half. So, yeah. There you go. Yeah, so a little bit different, obviously. But, again, we talked about this. This was kind of a Friday-Sunday combination of 2 games in 3 days. So, those numbers are kind of calculated as well.
How much of, you said Spencer's going to start Sunday, how much of that was determined tonight, or did you were leaning that way heading into tonight?
We had communicated before this to those guys.
Okay, so this was before this.
Yes.
You had made that decision.
Yeah. I did not. I didn't just improv it just now. So, so you guys first or something.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It was fun though.
One more player to ask you about Chris Reed.
Yeah.
I might have missed it.
Yeah. He's dealing with something. So lower body deal, and so a couple of those guys just some nagging things. They're kind of day to day. So we'll see.
That's one thing to talk about with Kellen Moore, man, that you can see with the press people, they like asking him questions. He's lighthearted. He'll wait there. He ain't in a rush to leave, trying to get all of the questions answered. You can ask him anything. Plus the fact that some good questions was asked in terms of, are you calling the plays? Yes, he's calling the plays. He mentioned some players that he's looking at in terms of the reps, how many reps would the offensive line get. That's something that we're going to look at the rep count too. After the first week, we be able to kind of look at the numbers like we do a couple of days or a day after the game. You can be able to look at the snap count of who played, how many reps, and this type of thing. And one of the family members mentioned about the backups, like they were watching a lot of NFL action tonight, and a lot of the backups when the starters got off the field and the backups came in, a lot of football suffered because the backups looked, not as prepared as the starters. And we do realize that at times the backups don't get as many reps, so they don't look as refined. And then there's the talent level of the starters. And then there's a drop off between the overall talent of the starters and your backups. And that to me is what something I kind of concern myself with, because if you lose starters, how bad is the backup or the drop off, the levels, the distance in talent between the starter and the backup, right? Because that's the fine. A lot of people don't talk about that, but it is some drop off. Now, you'll be very fortunate if you have some players that you may choose that the drop off is not significant, right? Where you can be able to kick them in and they play for 2 or 3 games until you get your starter back. That happens, but that's also a part of team building. You got to make sure you get the right guys there. And that's why I'm kind of overly cautious about, because I've watched over the last 4 years how the Saints have had issues with the offensive line protecting the quarterback, like having guys that, getting hurt, whether it's Eric McCoy or Cesar Ruiz or any of these other guys. All these guys at some point were hurt and missed time. Then backups came in there and didn't perform as well, and then the game suffered because when you're trying to run plays, these guys not blocking, they're weak, they're stupid. Most of them don't know what they're doing. We seen that last year with Ali Udo, with Shane Lemieux, and like I said, it could be a difference when you go from the offensive line coach you had last year to Nugent. We think that there's a difference, and there is a difference in coaching styles, but how good can guys like Nugent get a guy like Shane Lemieux to be based on what he did last year? Landon Young, guys like that wasn't very good, that you can't trust at all, in terms of, this type of thing. They just wasn't good. They just wasn't guys that you see improvement from. They were mediocre at best, but they back here on the team again. So like I said, we'll see what Nugent can do with these guys. But like I said, it's very rare that you'll go through an entire season with all your offensive linemen. So how bad is the drop off based on what you've seen tonight when they took their people in, they put the second team in? What was the drop off between the first unit and the second unit? Because we've seen people in the recent past, where they got hurt and then the next guy stepped in and they just kept it rolling, right? We've seen that. And sometimes people forget about that. You could just sign somebody and it's all, no. Now we seen that we got hit by that bullshit for the last couple of years. We just signing anybody, and these guys come here and they stink. Then the Saints don't want to get rid of them until the end of the season. I'm like, no, if the guy's bad and he started off good, he ended up bad, and he hurting the team, he's not doing what he's supposed to do, he's not blocking, he's false starting, he's having all this stuff. Now get out of here. You got to go, buddy. This is the NFL, which means not for long, especially it's not for long for people that don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know you. I don't have no patience for an offensive lineman in the NFL that doesn't know how to run block. That's not in terms of the difference between the great ones to the not so great ones at the bottom of the total pole is that the great ones do both well. They can run block. The best they can run block and also pass block. They get paid. These other guys that's at the totem pole, they might not be as good pass blockers because it involves them be able to have their footwork together where they can be able to move them feet, having their technique together, but they supposed to know how to run block. You supposed to know. You come into the NFL as an offensive lineman, you better know how to run block. You can't. There is no exception because you got to get the hell out of here if you can't at least run block, right? But anyway, that's my concern about whether the Saints going to do, and we'll see what that is, and maybe they'll do something based on what these guys look like in these preseason games. You got to. Anyway, let's move from Kellen Moore and kind of move into Spencer Rattler to hear what he had to say about stuff here. Let's hear for Spencer Rattler.
Kellen told us that you were going to be starting for the preseason game. It was communicated to you. It sounds like before practice today, but just tell us a little bit of the feel of getting the nod, like all that.
Yeah, super excited. Awesome opportunity. Excited to get out there with the guys and try to play some clean ball, try to score some points, and have some fun with the guys out there.
Do you feel like, I know the first start isn't necessarily an accomplishment necessarily, but do you feel like that's something that you've earned, that a spot that you've been holding on to so far?
I just try to control what I can, throughout camp, play my best, and, whatever order, whatever happens. Obviously excited to get to start the game, and, I always want to, start out on that way, but, I feel like it's been a good camp. Feel like the guys have looked great, and I know we're all just excited to get out there and play somebody new and get in some real ball now. So we're looking forward to it.
What hasn't worked?
Dude just sideswiped the hell out of that one, bro. He just went, he bust that kung fu move. He just moved that one right out there, smoothly. Like, let me get an emotional, rise out of you. See, and he just kind of moved it to the side and stayed calm. It's good, such. But you can see below the scene, right before the skin level, that Rattler is like, man, I'm taking this. You got, I'm gonna be politically nice about it, but deep down he's saying, man, it's mine. I told y'all they didn't think I was gonna do it. That's in there somewhere. That's what's driving it behind this cool demeanor. What do you think about leading the quarterback job and that? Well, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, just staying positive, working hard and all this kind of stuff, right? Giving them nothing to write about. Just Rattler, just being Rattler, right? It just guy, just super smooth, man. Super smooth.
What's been working well? I feel like just our group, we've been decisive, been playing fast. We're all kind of playing well within the playbook, and we all understand it pretty well. And yeah, I just say, we've been playing really decisive. Obviously, a lot of playmakers, so distributing the ball has felt good. Everybody's healthy, and the guys look good. O-line's been great up front. So yeah, the operation has been good. Obviously,
everybody good.
A lot to work on, but feel overall, this camp's there's been a lot of growth.
Was the decisive? Kellen has said that about you a few times in this camp. Oh shit! Sorry.
We're good.
Was playing decisive something that you made up your mind before the summer even started that this is something that I need to do? Because it seems like that's sort of your mission, right?
Yeah, I think within this system you can, it kind of urges the quarterback to play decisive. Get the ball out on time, play fast, get through your progressions, know where you're going with the ball, and like I said, we got so many playmakers that can separate and get open within our system. I think, I think it's been not easy, but it's been a smooth growth throughout camp, just playing fast, playing decisive, and that's just not me. That's everybody doing their part to make the operation look smooth.
Could you expand on that? Is it the plays themselves? Is it the way?
Hey man, everybody doing their part to play. It ain't just me playing smooth and decisive. Everybody's doing their part. Well, he just doing it better. But this is your quarterback, right? This is the quarterback. I'm gonna give it to the team. I'm just going to let my play speak for myself. That's why I'm leading this QB battle. And when week 1 comes along, that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be running this damn team. You won't hear him say that. But that's what, you ever had them comedy skits where you had the angry translator? Like what happened with the Saints, you had that comedian that was translating in a comical form, and he called Ross Baldy. Yeah, let's get Spencer Rattler one of those guys. Can we do that? Can we get Spencer Rattler an angry therapist translator person? That would be hilarious. I would see that.
Teaches the play, like what leads to that? Besides,
I mean, there's your own feel to it. Of course, every QB is going to play a little different. So there's your own feel, your own tempo, and everybody plays a little different. But I just want to play fast, play clean, and make the big plays when they're there. But take the easy ones when they're given to you.
Was there anything intentional about getting the ball downfield? I know you did it early, right away in your first drive today. Is that something you were hoping to do, looking to do today?
Oh, yeah. You always look for those big plays and those opportunities. You had man coverage. You got Shough one-on-one on a safety. You got to put it up. And it was a great play call, and it was executed really well.
What was it that you saw on that play, especially with the corner? Like, what walk us through it?
Yeah, we used a little cadence, got on the uncover a little bit, and safety came down. It was straight man across the board, and I knew I had a favorable matchup with Shedeur, and put it up on time. He ran a great route, O-line blocked, and those ones feel good when they hit like that. It feels good, especially the first drive to get the day going. So it got us a little momentum, and obviously a little up and down all throughout, but feel like we moved the ball pretty well today and executed when needed.
You hit a couple to Brandon Cooks that he did not have a whole lot of time to react.
Yeah.
Talk about those, because obviously there's a huge level of trust in there, but that's a hell of a play on his end, right?
Yeah, that's a vet making vet plays right there. I'm trusting where he's going to be. They're bringing pressure. You got to play fast, get that ball out. So, those balls were thrown really before he even turned, and just my trust in him, his trust in me. He was there, made 2 great catches and 2 big plays, or 2 or 3 big plays today.
And then on the TD pass to Cedric Wilson, it looked like the pocket had collapsed and you were kind of going backwards.
Yeah.
But, I mean, did you feel like there was any risk in that throw, or you were locked into it and trying to keep that play alive?
Ced made a great play. Those are one of those where, you put it up high enough, maybe he can go make that play. He made a great play. Kind of want to avoid those, but, he made a really good play, and sometimes you got to trust your guys to go up and get it, and that's what he did.
Jameis had a term for that once. He said that was a God's plan.
God's plan. I guess that's what you can call it.
Yeah, that's the shout out to Pam, and thank you, Queen.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
All right, thank you, Pam and Whammy, for that, and also shout out to Muse for the Cash App. Thank you. Trinity Montoya says, "Let Spencer ball out."
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
We got somebody here, man, to be quite honest with you, fam, that we know the kid can play. We know he's young. We know it's on him out of time. But like I said, this offense is it's going to, or it should be, right, ran through the running game. You can't put it on Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shough or even Jay Kaner or whatever. It has to be situated through the running attack, and then the quarterback stays composed, stays timed, because that's also the thing about the timing. They keep talking about timing and rhythm and being decisive, finding a place to go and get rid of the ball. Also, when the rush is coming in, you be able to recognize everything, being able to not only, make the correct completion, but also if you see pressure, getting rid of the ball, like throwing the ball away to avoid loss of yardage, to avoid taking a hit that can hurt you. Get rid of the ball and save yourself, right? Once you deliver the ball, get rid of the ball, just get rid of it. being decisive in that way, understanding and know if you can make the throw versus you can't. And we know that's still a learning process that any one of these guys got to do. But it's going to be interesting, man, to say the least about, Spencer Rattler. But like I said, he's been leading the whole way in terms of my book. And Tyler Shough has made improvements. He's just behind. He's running behind just like a rookie would. Anyway, let's hear from him. This a little bit from Mr. Tyler Shough on today.
I feel like I'm the best in my own game. I feel like I can continue to get better, but I think it's I'm going to try and get better each day, and I think I've done that.
This is a super rudimentary question, but is there something beneficial to Kellen Moore just letting football players play football to an extent?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's just he understands from a quarterback perspective that a lot of the scripted periods, a lot of certain practice stuff isn't necessarily real football where, a lot of times in, today's scrimmage, you're going to have defenders coming free or you're going to have to navigate a throw and you're going to have to operate, stuff like that, to where that's kind of more of realistic football that you got to go out there and make sure we're moving the sticks. And that's the fun part about it. So I think he does a really good job of when we're out here, we're going to utilize those reps. And then a lot of the times those scripted periods, we got to get plays installed and we're getting better. But when it comes down to football, you got to take advantage of it.
Just on shout to Kevin, can you kind of just talk about what you saw in that play?
Yeah, we were kind of going like a fake switch rub play we've been running for a while now. Just kind of one off of it, stepped up, and then made the adjustment from one of my takes earlier, throwing it too low and gave it a top shelf throw and in the back of the end zone. He made a really good catch off of it. But yeah, it was good. I mean, it was probably a bang play. I might have been getting sacked or smoked or something like that, but it was. But it was good, though.
The 65-yard drive that you had before that where, you hit Pettis on the one down the side, that whole drive, was that as good as you have felt this training camp so far? It seemed like you were certainly on point on that.
Yeah, I think so for me, like I said before, is just whenever we're going in actual football call-it scenarios, I think that's when I perform the best, and we're out there and I'm just operating and feeling it and getting out there on the move and all those things. I think that's where I feel most comfortable. And I think, getting in a new environment, coming out here, getting a lot of excitement with the guys, it's been a lot of fun. So, like footballs, you got up and down. We started off a little slow. We came back and we finished really well. So, I was really proud of him making that catch and the whole group kind of finishing it there against the guys.
So going to Pettis, were you sure that he was going to stop and turn around when you let go of it? Like how was that communication?
Yeah, I just trusted his body language. I think we had that double move off of it, and we had immediate kind of leakage right away, and got out of there. And I knew it was going to be his ball or nobody. It was on the run, so we were kind of on the same page there. He made a really good adjustment stopping.
One of the areas where we've kind of put you under the microscope, where we're trying to evaluate how you're doing there, is like time to throw, holding onto the ball. Is that something you think you've improved on, or do you think live situations help speed up that clock in your head?
I think a little bit of both. I feel like I've gotten better as far as time clock football, and that's just kind of comfortability with the offense, and sometimes ripping it in certain scenarios, and sometimes some guys, it may not be open. And you don't want to force it. Sometimes the best play is a throwaway, or to maybe even take a sack in some certain scenarios. So I think as you get playing more, a lot of those times where you can scramble, you can kind of make something happen is more realistic. But by no means was I perfect the first couple of weeks as far as with that, for sure. And I don't expect myself to be because I just got here, So I think the biggest thing that we've talked about is just continually getting better, getting the guys closer together as a team, and now we kind of hit the ground running.
How about we
Yeah, that's Tyler Shough, man. Let me tell you, man. Tyler Shough making some plays, but listen, and you got to know, like, when stuff breaks down, like he's going to be 26 coming up soon. And I think it's September he turns 26. Was in college for 7 years. Didn't play a lot of football, but was around a lot of a football. You see all these injuries happen. When stuff like that happens, he even talked about it on a talk show. I think it was with Kay, that, or Mila, I think it was. When he was able to, when stuff started happening, him getting out of the pocket, trying to, forget about the injuries that occur, because it's a little fear there when guys are around there, moving around, trying to grab at your legs, all this kind of stuff, and knowing how to be aware, situational awareness. being able to get out of it, seeing things happen and paying attention as much as you possibly can, getting rid of the ball, or if you can't get rid of the ball, kind of hold it down and protect it and not allow a turnover to go. So yeah, that'll be a big part of his game to understand and learn. But I don't see this as something that would be like, I don't see this as something in terms of Tyler Shough that I would see and be like, okay, Tyler Shough, to me, he'll pick up this stuff like super fast. I mean, the guy's it's going to take some time with Tyler. Obviously right now Spencer has it, and he more than likely on this trajectory will head into the season. But God damn it, he's saying the right stuff. You see him in practice, jumping up, making throws, using his legs to run around and make plays, being decisive. He has a lot of positive attributes and mindset. It's just a matter of time, right? With many of them, it's just a matter of time. They're still two young quarterbacks, though, right?
What was your review of that day? Because obviously the first drive was one of the highlights of your camp, and then there were some throws you probably wanted to have back later.
Yeah, I thought it was, just kind of like today. It was a lot of great efficiency when we were getting down there, and then a couple of times in the red zone we didn't really finish how we wanted to. So I think it was a lot of fun for me. Just kind of, I think that kind of triggered for me mentally, just kind of going out there and playing and not trying to be too perfect, having fun. So I think it's been a really good progression for me, and excited to kind of get out there on the game.
Kellen was saying that 95% of the time the running back gets the ball, the ones that you pulled, and you'd also did that before. What are you seeing on those plays that just gives you the confidence to go out and take it and that ends in a good result?
On the touchdown run?
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. I mean, I think for me it's just playing football. I think you got a lot of the times when you're running those tempo run plays, they're expecting that to get it, and then you just kind of feel that soft edge, and you can go out there and get it. So it wasn't necessarily, he crashed down. We could give in there and be a bang bang play, but just felt it.
And you when down up the fans after here, is that just kind of a sign that you're getting more comfortable here a little bit? Your confidence.
100%. I think that's part of it. Like I said before, I'm gonna try and be perfect. I'm gonna do everything I can, but I'm not going to be. And I think I had to get to the point where you just go out there and you're gonna make mistakes. But for me, it's just day by day. Like I said before to Ross, it's just getting more comfortable, getting better. I've been here for 3 or 4 months now, and I feel, in the past couple of weeks, so much better than I did year. And tomorrow, I'm gonna try and get better. And then who knows where we'll be at the end of the season.
Kellen said he told you guys that it's going to be Spencer starting and you coming in second. That's how they did both of the scrimmages too. I mean, what's your mindset of being the guy that's trying to start in second and come out ahead, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm excited for the opportunity to go out there and play. Get a couple quarters in, go out there and just have fun and rip it with all the stuff that we've been working towards. And I think you got to keep that perspective. I think obviously all these practices, all we've been working for, excited to go out there and have that opportunity.
Yeah, you mentioned learning from I assume you meant the knee fine interception in the first scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
You get the prop jump ball. How much of the first couple weeks for you has been, you kind of have to accept, you're going to have to take your lumps and instances so that you can go back and fix them. And then today you make a higher throw. Is that something that you came in just ready to deal with? Is that
No, I think you you come in, I'm going to complete every pass, but obviously your guys' job is to evaluate that. But you also, there's stuff that happens behind the scenes where I'm going to be the hardest on myself, first of all. But you got to come in. That was a learning adjustment for me. It's just, I'm not going to be Tom Brady or Drew Brees in training camp right now. I want to aspire to continue to grow. And I think the coaches have done a good job of just facilitating a lot of these practices, and especially kind of towards the end where we're getting into more realistic scenarios. And I feel like I've, progressively gotten better and more comfortable. But I expect myself to play at the best of my ability. And I think the lesson I've learned is just you're going to have to accept failure sometimes and keep going. You know what I mean?
Yep. You definitely have to do that, man. That's Tyler Shough giving this breakdown and thinking on what happened today. Friday in camp. And like I said, man, these we have a good young quarterback battle between Spencer and Tyler Shough. Spencer is headed in the right direction. He'll start against the Chargers. We'll see during the game on Saturday afternoon how many, how many drives or how many quarters that we'll see from Spencer. When we see a quarter of football, maybe 2 quarters, how much we'll see from Shough, maybe a quarter from Hainer, because as you can see, it's really, as we get into right before the game start, we had Jake Hainer was in the competition, but now it gave the impression that it was 3 nights back to 2 based on the reps that you see Hainer getting versus these 2 guys. And we said that the whole time, that it's really just between 2nd round pick Tyler Shough and 5th round pick 2nd yearman Spencer Rattler. All right. Anyway, fam, shout out to you guys for being in the late stream, man. Listen, I'm not going to keep you long. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat right now, and I shall do my best to answer your questions. Like I say, I will return later on today because today is Saturday. I will be returning later on today with the preview of the Saints and the Chargers matchup. And then, of course, back again for Sunday's afternoon first preseason game. A lot of people today had their preseason matchups already happened. And, a lot of people, teams didn't look all that good. We did have a few people that did have an opportunity to play today. Several teams played today. The Lions against the Falcons. The Falcons lost. Let me show y'all that here, the screen here. We've seen some of the Thursday games, by the way. Ravens beat the Colts 24-16, the 34-27. The Eagles were able to beat the Bengals, and the tie game between the Raiders and the Sea Chickens. And then, of course, to Friday's games, the Lions beat the Falcons 17-10. As you can see right there, the Browns bashed the Panthers 30-10. We talked about Shedeur's 14-23 for $138 and 2 scores. And the Commanders got thoroughly thrashed by the Patriots 48-18. So there you go right there. So very positive numbers right there. Of course, we know if a lot of the starters are playing, this definitely look a little different. And of course, the matchup that they have on Sunday is the 12 o'clock game, which will be Dolphins Bears. And of course, our black and gold play later on in the afternoon. We are the 3 o'clock game. So the Saints will face off against them dad Chargers. And like we said, it's just preseason, and we're kind of looking at it saying that we want it to be, regardless of not, we know it's preseason, but you still want to win, right? You want to learn, train, learn, and win, right? You want to learn. We know you learning, but you want to win while you learn. Somebody got to win, right? It's a game, unless it ends in a tie. Somebody wants to win the game. So that helps you out and gives you confidence when you win. All right. Anyway. All right. Big ups to you guys. Appreciate y'all being alive as well. And what's up? Randy says Shedeur did his thing. Not gonna lie. He did look really good out there. Of course, we've got a couple of more preseason games. And with that being said, because the quarterback position is open. Like you've seen Kenny, I think Pickett for the Browns had an injury or some type of injury. Flacco was seen as a Shedeur. He had a slight shoulder problem. I guess no. Dylan Gabriel is not looking good at all. And you can see what they did. I think they just played. The Browns only played 2 quarterbacks. One was Shedeur. The other one was Tyler Huntley. I think Huntley got in there for it was just between them 2. So we ain't see Dylan Gabriel, in there. It was Huntley in there. Unless, they ain't throwing no pass. It just, it's a weird take, because they still have Deshaun Watson at the, up top of that. I don't know what the Browns are doing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know, for the people of Cleveland. I just feel bad for them with that organization, because they, in many regards, are a lot worse than what we deal with. I mean, my goodness. You know, it's just silliness, stupidness that they just outright dumb, stupid stuff I see Cleveland doing. It don't make any sense. They just are they're dysfunctional back ass program. I don't know what to say about them, man. They just do the dumbest stuff. I don't get it, man. I really don't. All right, Robert says, I'm telling y'all, he said, I'm telling you now, Caesar Salad Ruiz got somebody hurt every year, starting with Drew Brees against San Fran. I just hope that he can protect this guy. All right, Caesar Salad Ruiz. All right. Yeah. I remember how he got Drew Brees hurt in the game. All right. Anyway, big ups to you guys. Appreciate y'all. All right. Molly Mall says, Q, you said you were doing 8 hours. No, I didn't.
Stop the cap.
What? What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
No, I didn't. Good try, though. All right, Kelvin says it's a real good chance that we could be checking out Trey Lance. What do you think, Big Q? I don't know. I mean, I know Trey Lance is with the Chargers, so I guess in terms of us seeing him, he could possibly be a guy that's in there that we'll see play against the Saints defense. But if the Saints wanted Trey Lance, they could have gotten Trey Lance. I don't think he is. I don't think he's an option for the team unless. I mean, I think the Saints are good with. I think they're serious about keeping the people they got at the quarterback position. Just being honest, unless the only way they shift. Let's just put it like this: if injuries hit, then they'll find somebody else, and I don't even think it'll be somebody who you can really consider to be a real threat at any QB. It'll just probably be an older veteran guy that can come in and kind of just help us out, that type of thing, just to be a body in the rotation. The Saints seem a focus and fixated in on working with the quarterbacks they have on the team and developing them. That's what the temperament is. And besides, if Kellen Moore was more aggressive and asking for assets to improve his offense, I think the Saints will be a lot better. Like, I feel a lot better about the offense if they went after Keenan Allen. They could have had him. They have the money available, 20-something odd million in cap. They could have went after Keenan Allen and not let him sign with the Chargers. They could go after Cooper, who's still available. They can go after a good veteran wide receiver, whether you like Keenan Allen or Cooper or not. Them guys still better than 75 to 80% of your receivers. If you bring Keenan Allen in, Keenan Allen is your second best receiver. You bring in Cooper is your third best receiver. I mean, you can haggle over who's better, either Cooks or Cooper, but even at the worst, he's the fourth. At the best, at the top, he's the third. So, I mean, he's still better than what's the guy we talked about from what's his name? Jones Jr., Kevin Austin Jr., Bub Means, the other guy that came over from the Cowboys. I mean, it's a lot of, that type of stuff. Getting more aggressive. The Noah Fant thing, The Noah Fant thing to me was ridiculous because you got two tight ends hurt in Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill. On the PUP list right now, you don't have a truly bona fide backup tight end for Juwan Johnson, who has a groin issue that is not considered, terrible, but at the same time, he still pulled his groin. They have to deal with him in a certain way. So you would like to have a veteran tight end, and they got an opportunity to get a really good one who got released at a time where you don't usually find guys like that. And they let him go to Cincinnati for 1 year and $8 million. So I'm saying, Lyle Collins, and I said this before, Lyle Collins was basically advocating for a job with the Saints. Saints had an opportunity to sign him the same day in the morning, they signed Shane Lemieux back. And then later on that day, the Cowboys signed Lyle Collins. Everybody know Lyle Collins, even at this stage of his development, is better than Shane Lemieux. Nobody's going to pick Shane Lemieux over Lyle Collins except for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, that don't make any sense. But in the end, that's what I'm saying about the depth, how, of the team and adding to what you have. I know you believe in some of these young people, but at the same time, you still have to have veteran leadership there, like the backup tackle position. The Saints have guys that are not tested there, and you can't play with at least get one veteran tackle, a guy that played some games, still has a lot to give, like a James Hurst type, that we found, a guy that can be the best or the sixth offensive lineman to come in. Your sixth offensive lineman is what? Dylan Redunce, who doesn't play the tackle position. You need a veteran tackle you can rely on if some of these young guys have an issue injury-wise. And he don't have that. And he counting too much on these untested people. Having one here or there, a couple of those is fine, but you can rely on veterans. They've been there before. They went through the tests and trials and the heat and all this kind of stuff. I don't like, we don't have enough of those guys in the backup offensive line. We don't have enough of those guys in certain positions I'm not cool with. So, I mean, and the only way the Saints shift that philosophy is if injuries start tearing them up, then they'll go looking, which is reactive. I was kind of looking at it as proactive. We done been through this stuff before. They made some moves with Tom Rath, bringing them in here. They hired LaCharles Bentley to come in like as a trainer of some sorts. And that's positive, but still in all, that's a lot for two men to overcome for the last 4 years of boobery and stupidness dealing with the Saints injury situation. That's a lot. So we have to slow walk this thing. And the best insurance you can get from that is getting better players and better backups. I've been saying shit. Better backups. What's up, Jaden? All right. So we're going to see how it all go. Let's see. Willie says a picket for 4 to 6 weeks. He most likely getting traded. Yeah, it's interesting, man. They have a crazy situation with the Cleveland Browns. Like I said, man, I've been watching them for a while, and I'm just like, man, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with these people? Why are they so bad with the decision makings? Why are they so stupid on these football stuff? This stuff is not quantum physics. Why are they so bad? Why are they so stupid with the decisions? Especially at what they got all these quarterbacks here. Like the Dylan Gabriel was a bad decision. Dylan Gabriel should have went later on in the draft. They picked that man before Shedeur Sanders. That let everybody know it was some bullshit going on. Ain't nobody would pick Dylan Gabriel over no Shedeur Sanders. Not even Dylan Gabriel picking himself over Shedeur Sanders. It's just not going to happen. This is not going to happen. It's just stupid. But in the end, man, let's see how they handle it, man. I'm so sorry for them Cleveland Browns people, man. They done suffered more than any Saint person, man. The Browns just say, okay, we doing too good. It's time to F it up. Let's screw it up some kind of way. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, anyway, maybe we can trade Mickey Loomis up there. I don't know. What you think, Mickey, like Cleveland weather up there? Well, maybe they could send him up. We could ship and pack Mickey and see if he can change the Cleveland Brown people. Let's see what they can do. Send his ass up there. All right. Anyway, man, let me get ready to get on out of here, man. Listen, fam. Tonight, Saints had some good business. 60-something odd snaps in practice for the Saints gearing up. Today will be more of a softer approach. Walkthroughs, all this kind of stuff as you get ready for the game against the Chargers on Sunday night. We'll see what our Saints starters could do in limited action. We'll be looking at it all, man. It'll be fun watching it. Each one of these preseason games will be dialed in, doing full evaluation on players, how they look. I'll be looking at our quarterbacks, obviously, the backup running backs position. How does Kendre Miller look? With Elvin out of there, can Kendre step it up? We see Cam Akers did some positive stuff. Clyde Edwards-Helaire in practice. What they look like. Really important to see what the Saints offensive line look like, the starters look like, and the reps that they get. The wide receiver battle behind the top three people who can step up and make a name for himself, the backup tight end battle, to see if we can get a definitive order of what guys look like what. The defense, what manner of defense we'll see. We talked about the 34. Will it be something else? We've seen the unofficial depth chart the Saints release has a 4-2-5 defense on there. They have 4-2-5, 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, and the rest defensive backs. Is that what they're doing? Just asking. So we looking at the alignment, looking who's lined up and what order, seeing who the kick returners and punt returners are with the team. A lot to look at, and then how the backup offensive line plays, how the backup defense guys look, who's going to step up behind the linebackers. And, you've seen Danny Stutzman, Nephi Sewell doing it. Are there anybody? Can Rico Payton challenge some people there? Because we've been seeing a lot of positive stuff from Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry. We ain't been hearing a lot from Isaac Yiddom. We've been hearing and learning a lot of stuff by Quincy Riley. So, does that play a part? How do Saints feel about that thing? The safeties, plays, this kind of stuff. It's a lot to look at over the next 3 weeks of preseason football as the Saints fortify, crystallize that depth chart heading into week 1 matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. So we almost there. We got about 4 weeks, man, before the regular season get going. It's going to be fun. So we looking at it all, baby. All right, T5 Degree said Mickey doing better than Cleveland, Jerem. Yeah, well, hey, bro, you might have something on that because I can't say he'll do worse than that guy or whoever it is, because I don't know. It's just they make a lot of bad decisions, man. That quarterback thing, they drafted 2 quarterbacks, got Pickett, traded for Pickett, and brought him and then signed Joe. I mean, what are y'all doing? What is all this madness here? What's going on here? It's just a lot of craziness going on, man. And they should have been competing. But then again, look at our damn team. We ain't been in the playoffs since 2020. We've been out of the playoffs all this time. Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, let me get on up out of here, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all later on in the day for the preview, Saints and Chargers preview. And listen, man, it starts it. Maybe this year is the year. I'm anticipating the Saints win more than 5 games. The schedule looks kind. But like I said, schedule besides, team has to execute. We'll get a good look at it in a couple of days of what Kellen Moore and them been working on. But anyway, y'all have a good night. I'm going to holler at y'all later on in the day, and much love to the fam. Thank y'all for the subscribers and the new subscribers. Shout out to the YouTube champions and Patreon champions, YouTube family members for your contributions. Shout out to our Patreon people. Much love to you guys. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love. Who dat to you? Peace.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 huh? Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a who dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that?
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat.